Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Of course, I'm sure. All right, everybody. I think we're on now. Good to be here with you guys. We are on. Hey, hey, Trace of Magic, Razzle Bam Boom, Australia, New York, LA. Very good, man. A lot of cool people here. Drop a line in the box if you can see me, please, and hear me. We got the echo killed. I have the bald 2000 earpieces in here, so no one can know that we're doing this. Really good to see everybody, and I just want to get a confirmation that we're making it out into the world. Let me see if we can get this. This is good. Oh, there we go. Yeah, we got some good. Some comments coming in. I love it. And now I'm going to wait for one person to say you can hear me. And on the replay, just fast forward by this part. Doesn't really. All good, Michael. Thank you so much. You are the confirmation for today. Good to see you, Michael. See and hear you, Simon. Good to see you guys. All right, everybody. Good. Well, I'm excited today about this webinar here. For those of you who have been living in a cave, I'm Barry, but you knew that. And we're doing a master class here for August. How's summer going? You guys, what have you done? Drop one thing in the comment that you've done this summer that's kind of fun, exciting, shook your world a little bit. I said goodbye to a kid I've had in the world for 17 years now. He's a senior in high school, and the end of the world is coming here, man. The end of the world is this chapter, as I've known it, is coming. So it's been I don't know, kind of a rock and a hard place summer. That's stress. Can't see anything, just a black screen error message. Hey, try refreshing if you have that. I see Tracy. Just try refreshing that thing. I know we're getting out into the world. All right, everybody. This masterclass today, I've been guilty, as I said on a quick live yesterday. Me and every other content producer in the world says, "Oh, get a VA to do that. Yeah, get a VA to do that. Get a VA to do that." Blah 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 blah. And I have a decade or so of experience with working with VAs, and to me, it's been very simple. And there is an amazing man named Randy Pryor who really, I'll tell the story when he comes on, but he goes way back with me. He kind of inspired me. I'm here because of a few conversations that we had back in 2008 after I broke my collarbone. I called Randy, had a good talk with him, and just he helped me get my head on straight. And he's been a magician since age 17, which is probably somewhere around 40 plus years, and he has mastered working with virtual assistants. He's created online courses. He runs a huge program showing people how to do this with private coaching, with self-trained instruction, really about how to do it and how to cut your time down to zero. And I forget how much I've actually learned from him over the years. But I got him on today. He's going to talk to you about it. We're going to answer all the questions you guys have about VAs and really how to make this go. Man, you guys sound like you're doing some good things. This is awesome. Is this, let me send that one through. Alexander booked a huge project for IBM. Dude, I love that. That's a good one. Implement the CRM into my business. That's okay. Good. That's amazing. Ninth. Oh, this is good. I know you love doing this. Ninth trip to Roswell, New Mexico for the Alien Convention.
Sweet.
Yeah, we're doing good stuff. First, good to see you. All right, everybody, let's go. I'm going to introduce you here to Randy Pryor. I'm going to make him bring him onto the magic screen of doom here. There's Randy. Turn off the comments. Good to see you, man.
Hey, man, thanks so much for having me. This is going to be awesome. I am so stoked. I'm so stoked.
Sometimes I tell the guests this may be the most ventriloquists and jugglers and magicians you've ever hung around, but not even close to the truth for you.
Yeah, I've hung out quite a bit since I was, actually, I started magic when I was 6, but joined the Long Beach Mystics when I was 17 and had a 40-year career doing the stuff, magic and juggling, and, had my own show on cruise ships and
Right.
for 7 years and, stuff.
Yeah. And then, so the story I wanted to tell though was Randy had this great, Randy was great. After I broke my collarbone, I'm in the studio. I don't have my little pin here, which I always have near me, but what put in my arm, I called Randy and I said, "Man, I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to juggle again, but Annie told me I'm really good at booking a juggling act for a lot of money." And he started talking to me about creating a course, doing, and that was the beginning of Get More Corporate Gigs. He was on the phone with me, and I'm doing this because I think we actually held phones in 2009. And he was on the phone with me, and we launched it on the phone together. And do you remember the great line you said?
Yeah, I think I said, "Oh, that's terrific. That's the worst it's ever going to be."
Yep, which was both disheartening and so reality based that I just I didn't really even know how to handle it at the time. I was a little thrown off, but now I just laugh at it. And I think it's the best thing you can tell anyone when they launch a program or take a new venture in their business or do something. It's the worst it's ever going to be. So I learned a lot from that, and I've certainly held on to so much you've taught me. Anyway, I know that you've mastered working with VAs. I've learned so much from you. And today I talked to you about doing a master class for it. And you said, let's just dig in, let's answer questions, and let's talk about really the mastery. So I'm going to some extent, just hand it over and I'll check in here. I know you got slides, and I'm going to also be watching live Q&A. You guys, if anything comes up along the way, just shoot it in here. We can make them live. And yeah, I'm also going to show an example or two of what we've done with what a VA has done for me and how we use that. And yeah, I'll show you that when we get going here. All right, slideshow, Randy, and I'm going to put you onto that screen.
Excellent. All right, let's do this. Excellent. Does that look good?
That looks good, man.
Look at that logo. How awesome is that?
Who knew that?
All right, let's jump in. What we're talking about, especially for you guys, is the customized video introductions. Obviously, this is stuff that Barry has talked about and is life-changing if you dove in and started doing those things. And when Barry and I were talking about it, it was really about, well, how much of this do I actually have to do? And what comes down to it is, there's very little that you actually have to do. So, and this is Barry's quote. He said, "Everything I've taught you so far doesn't mean that you have to do it all." Remember that, Barry?
Yeah, it's extremely accurate, and I always try and put that in. And then there's some fear about, how can I have someone else do it? Does it take too long to train them and all that? So I'm bringing this up on the screen. I'm going to show you in just one second.
Okay.
You guys are going to crack up. I actually stood in front of my microphone, just recorded a CVI, put it in a Dropbox, and something magical happened about 2 hours later. So I'm going to share that with you here in a second.
Cool. Excellent. All right. Well, I know we've all heard of VA. We've all heard of virtual assistants, and a lot of times that can have kind of a negative connotation because there's so many horror stories out there, and they think, well, VAs are expensive or they don't do work or all this kind of stuff. Here's what I'm talking about. What we hire are not part-time VAs or freelancers. Part-timers have to get work everywhere they can get it, so they're never focused just on you. But if you hire somebody for 40 hours a week and they're just working for you only, then they don't have to worry about working for other people, and their focus isn't split. It's all about you. We'll talk more about that in a second. Another thing that VAs are not, they're not slave labor. Depending on what country you choose your VA, that will have a big effect on their economy and what is minimum wage for them versus what's a really good pay rate for them. And we're also not talking about somebody that's $5,000 a month. That's just I'm sure there are people out there that could do that, but I couldn't afford that. Also, a VA that we're talking about is not just a one skill specialist. Like if all they do is editing or all they do is WordPress or whatever. A lot of times freelancers will specialize in their one thing, and then you got to hire different specialists, different freelancers for everything that you're doing. So what we're talking about is a VA that's actually trainable. So here it is. You need somebody who is full time. That's one of my biggest recommendations is get somebody 40 hours a week.
That's pretty scary for folks who have never done that.
Right.
Yeah, I talked about that in a live yesterday. What having a full-time VA does for me is it always has me thinking, here's something I'm too lazy to do, but something needs to be done. And it was hard at first, and now it's not that hard. I actually farm them out to a lot of my coaching clients now. I just kind of say, hey, work on this, make a spreadsheet for this business. So it allowed me to grow my business in a way that I certainly wasn't able to do when I was doing it.
Right, because a lot of people think, well, what if I don't have full-time work? What if I don't have 40 hours of work? Well, that's what I brought to this next point. It's $200 a month. You can get a full-time virtual assistant, a really good one, for as little as $200 a month. Well, you can make stuff up, or you can give them the day off, or you can do all kinds of stuff as long as their work is helping you be more productive, and it's stuff that all of a sudden you don't have to do anymore. $200 a month in the U.S. is a pretty good price for full-time work overseas. got to be on the other side of the world. And like I said before, you really want someone who's trainable in other skills. So the VA we're talking about will do your editing and your outsourcing as far as trying to find work, handling your LinkedIn account. I mean, all that kind of stuff can be one person.
Yeah. And one thing that I will say right now that you can do, I'm going to show this CVI that I recorded a voiceover for and just put it in a Dropbox. A couple hours later, I had a CVI, and then they did something totally cool, which we'll play for you in a little while. But I just want to quickly show you this. Let me show you this CVI here.
Yeah.
This is hilarious. And again, this is not me making it. This was just somebody who I don't know. Randy said, "Sure, send over a sample, and let's have my VA do it."
Hello, American Sociological Association. My name is Barry Friedman, one half of the Raspini Brothers. We hear you are having your annual meeting, August 8th through 11th, 2020 in San Francisco, California. And after reviewing the details of your event with Julianne Rudolph, we see you're having a 3-hour event for all the employees, the spouses, and other VIPs, approximately 150 guests. You're looking for 30 minutes that's motivational, entertaining, and visual, of course, and well, a perfectly fine audience looks like the group there on the left. I think the ASA is looking for something a little bit more on the right for 2020. So what's Raspini and why should ASA care? Well, over 100 events a year, and for that night, yours is all that matters. We expand camaraderie among your guests. We customize using your products, themes, and messages. We bring humor, motivation, and focus. The tools we use, we garnered from over 200 national television shows, over 2,000 corporate events, and just for fun, we're 4-time world juggling champions. So what are the ASA folks going to see? They're going to see a fully choreographed yet improvisational evening full of comedy and juggling using golf clubs and bullwhips, balloons, raw eggs, fine china, throwing knives, and maybe even a handful of your VIPs. They're going to feel is the benefits of laughter, the antidote to stress and pain and conflict. More connected as a group, relaxed and at ease. And from the message, they're going to know that ASA is creative and progressive, and you celebrate success. And they'll continue to count on all this and more. A couple of resources that show we're worthy of ASA's 2020 meeting. 6-time presenters at the prestigious annual TED Conference, over 2,000 corporate shows since 1986. We're Guinness World Record holders. Just below, you'll find a link to a one.
That's me.
Yeah, go ahead. You can see what it looks like when we dig in and customize for your group. Also, you'll see a link to a letter about our customization skills. No two shows are ever the same, and that's the way we like it. And I promise you, we will not be lost in the shuffle of agents and managers. Julianne Rudolph will have our cell phone until the moment we walk on stage to make you look great. ASA, your 2020 meeting in San Francisco. We are the Raspini Brothers, and we hope to see you there. So long.
Okay, just a bit. I forgot to bring the MP4 file in, so I was actually holding my laptop up by the mic. And when you lean the laptop, guess what it does? It turns into tablet mode. So sorry about that. That was all me. And yeah, so there's something beautiful. And for a couple of really subtle reasons, that CVI is better than any of the ones I ever made. And I don't even know if you guys spotted those. You've certainly seen a whole bunch of my CVIs. But that one did something really that I never took the time to do, and that was time so many of the words to hit right on the voice, and also to leave the pictures up a little bit longer so that the ending happened. I mean, it's funny, just me watching that, I go, oh, that's actually better than I would have done it because I didn't spend the time doing that. There's some other cool things that happened with this CVI along the way, but let me give it back to Randy and just let you know, if CVIs are something, this is something you should completely be having a VA do. I talked about it during Showbiz Blueprint. It's almost too big a nut for me to handle in teaching how to do it all. And yeah, it's a tad of malpractice for me to just say, go use a VA. And, certainly we've helped in follow-ups and live Q&As, but it's, this is a bigger deal. So go ahead, Randy, your slides are back up.
Yeah, cool. No worries. I love the CVIs. It just makes so much sense. And what makes equal sense is that you don't do it.
Yeah.
Like you said, you recorded the voiceover and you sent it in, and I just gave it to my VA. Now you got to keep in mind, my VA is full-time, and they've done a lot of this kind of stuff. So she's well trained. So this was like pretty easy for her. And, in the beginning, yeah, you have to work with them and let them know what you want. But let's continue with the slides. We can, we'll answer all those other questions. We'll come back to that kind of stuff.
Yep.
So when you're working with a virtual assistant, I would say choose a country that you want to work with. We've worked with tons of VAs all over the world, from Russia and from India and from all over the place. And we found that the Philippines is our absolute favorite place. So that's what we highly recommend, and there's obviously a lot of reasons. The Philippines have mostly or a whole lot of English speaking and clear English speaking folks. It makes it a lot easier for us to communicate with. My team is crazy productive. They work really hard because they value our relationship, and it's not difficult to find people who really want to work hard. And one of the things that we talk about a lot is loyalty, and I am super loyal to them, and they just give it right back to me. Like they're 10 times more loyal to me, and it's just a really great working relationship. I worked with them for years. One of my guys I've had for, I think it's going on 6 or 7 years now, and I'm the only person that they work with, and they give me 100% of everything they can. It's pretty great. And like I said, they speak and write in English, and that just makes the Philippines like our absolute favorite place, and the place we've had more success with than anywhere else.
Yeah. I'm going to share my screen real quick. I'm just going to pop
Yeah.
onto them. You won't see it, but this is Upwork. This is my virtual assistant, Emerson. He's been with me a little over a year, but he does everything. And this is a $200 a month. You can see right here, it's paid $50 a week. So I follow Randy's gospel to the T, and this guy, amazing dude. I give him some bonuses every time we do something. Some weeks I tell him, he goes, Mr. Barry, he always calls me Mr. Barry, which I love, which I don't really care about, but it's just funny. He says, hey, do you have anything for me this week? And I said, I go take the week off. Next week we're probably going to do 50 hours, and it's just wonderful. So yeah, for me, it saves a lot of hassle of looking around. I found someone who over delivers every single time. And everything Randy's teaching in these slides. Go ahead, yeah.
Yeah, I concur. I think the over delivery is something that I guess in my case that my U.S. Folks don't do. They'll do the bare minimum. They'll do whatever they need to do, and they'll charge $50 an hour for it. So that's the difference. One of the main differences. But yeah, my VAs go overboard whenever they can. If there's anything possible, they just love to do that. And obviously, we're speaking as a general rule. My employees, as you see on the slide, there's got a fierce family mentality. That's like for pretty much all the Filipinos that we've worked with. They're just terrific. I mean, again, generally speaking. And then once we get to know each other, then they really want to help me out any way they can, because they know that if I'm doing well and growing and thriving, that's just job security for them, and that really works. It's a two-way street there. They're very fast learners. In the beginning, you just train them. And then a lot of the times, like Barry was saying, okay, but I don't have anything for you this week. Well, when we don't have a lot of tasks for them in a specific week, we give them something to learn. Like, hey, do you want to learn Photoshop? And then we give them some courses in Photoshop or something. And now all of a sudden, they're getting paid for improving their own skills. And of course, that's going to come in handy for me later on. So this is really great. And they really they love to learn pretty much anything we want to teach them.
Hey, I'm going to pop this comment up onto the screen because this is perfect. Yeah, that should show up. Tracy in Australia said, oh gosh, look at this. I'm getting a phone call. I don't want that. How is your VA customizing? You just stay up there. How is the VA customizing the CVI with your voice? All right, Tracy, this is funny. This is a classic. This is the kind of thing you don't even ask for, and a VA gives you something that you didn't even ask for because they know it's going to help your business. So here you go. Let me share this screen. So here's a little text file I think I sent. I put the person's name on LinkedIn. I spelt it wrong in my little text file. They spelt it wrong on the video, and then I corrected it, and they didn't even bother telling me, but I'm now looking at the text file, and I spelt it wrong. Classic. Yeah, so Julianne, I just said there's her LinkedIn profile, and here's the conference I want you to make the thing for. So those 2 lines, and here's what happened. Here's what she sent me back. Watch this. You guys are going to love this. She did a fast motion scan, I think a 2-minute video of her making the CVI from my template I gave her. Now, granted, I was probably barbecuing or on a mountain bike ride while this was happening. It's kind of cool. Grabbed all the information. Are you seeing this, Randy?
Oh yeah,
This is
it's
so
awesome.
cool. This is so cool.
Yeah, this is stuff that you don't have to do.
Right. The stuff that's ridiculous to do. And I did have a VA who did this for me a long time ago, and then I would whip him out. I got very fast at him, but still, it was ridiculous for me to do it. They're there changing the photo for an ASA party, putting a nice little tilt on it, which I never did, um, and then kind of changing the old names into the new names, plugging the logos in, getting the right event, grabbing a cool image of San Francisco. And then now here's the timeline refinement. This is great. When I was watching this, I was like, oh yeah. She went through and like nailed every little place where line the words up with the what was happening on the screen perfectly. You can see here they cut out a little tiny bit of the screen. It was too long. Added a little bit. I mean, this is a kind of attention I sure didn't give to mine. I mean, let me just come right out and say I did not do this to mine.
Yeah, but how great is it when it's their job?
Yep. So Obadiah is asking. So the VA creates the PowerPoint, and then you record it. Then they put it together. No, I gave them an old template. I just gave them one from like I don't know General Electric or IBM or something. Just I gave them the PowerPoint file. I stood in front of my microphone and just recorded the voiceover. I ran one in the background with the mute on, just so I knew what to be saying. Use the information about the upcoming event. So I just literally uploaded an audio file, sent the MP3 into a Dropbox for her, and then she put this all together. Trace is asking, did you show them the process? Not at all. I didn't do anything but put the thing and said, here's a sample. I sent them the, I think it was the IBM one as a sample and said, here's the information for the new one. And that was the end of the instruction. I didn't say to use, this looks like it's happening in, is that Premiere Pro or Final Cut? I don't know. Some kind of editing program she did it in, I'm not sure. But yeah, no, I didn't do anything else like that. I just simply uploaded the audio file and gave a sample, and that was it. Got back the MP4 ready to go, ready to ship to my client. All right, back to you, sir.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and the point again is that this is not a brand new VA. This is someone that's worked for me for a very long time and very familiar with obviously video and audio and all that kind of stuff. So just obviously very very trainable. But it's not like you have to have somebody that's got a degree or that's done this for 15 years or whatever. I mean, there are people out there that have that and a little bit of training. But once they're trained, they're all the same. That's the beauty of the CVI. You just copy and paste, right? You just take out the old information, the new information, and then you got your voiceover, and they'll all look stellar and probably better every time they do it.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And in fact, that's a great thing to do for the first week of employment. Make me 5 of these things and get good at them. Bruce just sent a question through Google Docs to their own editing program. Yeah, that's what I see when I do it. She didn't even use PowerPoint. That was in Google Docs. So took my PowerPoint file, uploaded it to Google Docs, and then just used her own editing program to match my voice to the CVI. And I think it was about 2.5 hours or something. It was between 2 and 3 hours that you said, hey, that thing's in your box. And I go, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's because they work at night. It's they're on the other side of the planet. So morning for me is nighttime for them. And that's definitely something that is part of it. You got to kind of get used to it, but I'm so used to it now, it's normal. It's wonderful for me to say, okay, here's some work, one night, and then by the time I wake up the next morning, it's done.
Yeah, me as well. I have my whiteboard throughout the day, and I'm just constantly jotting things on my whiteboard, like, oh, they're gonna do this, and then before I stop working, which is sometimes embarrassing late and sometimes ridiculously early, I just send a letter to Emerson going, here's what's up for right now, and it's pretty quick.
I love having it done by the time I wake up, and while I've been sleeping, they put in 8 hours of work. So I just personally, I not only got used to it, but I love it. I think it's wonderful.
Hey, talk about this comment real quick, Randy, because you mentioned it, and I think there could be some. Look at this, Simon, 200 a month. Whoa! I mean, what does that mean in their world?
Oh yeah, this is what's one of the most important aspects is that their culture is different, their economy is different. So in our world, $200 a month is not a lot of money. Okay, in their world, it's completely different. Like over there in their economy, you can get, let's say, a full massage for $5. Just like we would pay, I don't know, $80 for Glen Ivy or one of those kind of things. It's $5 there. you can get a tooth pulled over here for about 200 bucks, 250, maybe $300 to get a tooth pulled. Over there, it's $5. Their
Wow.
economy is
I would
completely.
rather have a CVI made than a tooth pulled personally. But yeah,
That's
that's
right. Yeah, yeah, me too. And it's just a different economy. So when we say, oh, it's quote only minimum wage, well, that doesn't make sense to them. They don't have our minimum wage. Over here, whatever it is in California, it's like, I don't know, it's almost 15 bucks now or some
something like
amazing
that,
thing.
probably. Yeah.
Okay, what we're talking about is like $1.50 an hour for them. And that's a really good thing. Now you got to keep in mind also that this is for a job they can do without leaving their house. This is all online. If they have good internet and a decent laptop, they can get paid. They can make money, and it's just life changing for them. So $200 a month is actually very good pay. It's actually a little bit more than minimum wage, more than other jobs are paying. Personally, I mean, this is a quick little insider thing. I don't pay mine. My particular guy jumped up a long time ago. I'm paying him a whopping $400 a month.
Yeah.
Woohoo! Okay, and that's after years of working for me and lots of bonuses. And now I'll send something to one of my guys, and he can do Photoshop, he can do video, he can do WordPress, whatever I need him to do.
Yep.
So I'll just keep increasing his skills, giving him the courses or whatever. I mean, there's a ton of really inexpensive Photoshop courses out there.
Yeah.
Sometimes he'll just say, "Hey, you mind if I go look up some stuff on Photoshop?" Or if I have a task for him that he doesn't know, I'll say, "Yeah, go figure it out," and I'll pay him the whatever I'm paying, $1.25 an hour or whatever, for him to go figure it out.
Yep.
It's just a different culture and a different mindset
Good.
than.
Hey, let me address something that came up here. Yeah, so I must not be explaining this correctly because Obadiah asked. So the VA creates the PowerPoint and then you record, then they put it together. So let me just try and be clear. In my studio, in my office alone, I played one of my old CVIs just on mute. I had mute going, so it was just playing on the monitor. I was standing in front of the microphone. Oh, sorry, I'm not on camera. Standing in front of the microphone, I just did the live audio track for it. Nothing else. Just recorded it on Audacity on my computer. I went, hey, American Sociological Society, this is Barry Friedman, the Raspini Brothers. We hear you have an event. I just did it to the old CVI, so the timing would be similar. I took that audio file, put it in a Dropbox. Into that Dropbox, I also put a sample CVI, like the one that I was probably watching. No other assets, no other anything. I put that notepad file that just had the person's name, Julianne at LinkedIn, who's in charge of this meeting for ASA, and then I put the website of ASA so that she could run over there and grab something. But that was it. There was no back and forth. I just did the audio file, put that in a Dropbox. A couple hours later, I had the brand new CVI. Now, that was for a test, just for this project Randy and I were talking about. Could I easily have had her take that and put that onto a WordPress page? Zero challenge. Put it onto the thing, update the page, say custom introduction for the ASA group for the meeting in San Francisco. Keep everything the same. And in that notepad, I would have put the fee is or, what the next step is. But my gosh, just to take it for a generic video introduction, if you want to do it to everybody coming to Las Vegas for a conference, whatever it is, get that made and then have the VA do the research, do the WordPress page, do the CVI or the GVI, put it onto the page. And if it gets into a conversation, you want to send them a customized video introduction, have them do that. But there is no back and forth. Back and forth is not part of it. All right. Go ahead.
Excellent. Yeah, we can hit the questions as they come up as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we know that you've heard probably a lot of horror stories or whatever. Let me give you a few insider tips on how some mistakes that you can avoid. Okay. Here's one thing: when you're hiring somebody overseas, not testing their internet speed. That's a mistake. Yeah, you want to make sure that they test their own internet speed, and you understand that they've got high. I would say a high quality, high speed internet. It's not going to be as fast as ours necessarily, but it's fast enough. But you wanna check it, and you can test it when you send them their tests, and they become a prospect and possible hire, an applicant. There's a way to test their internet speed. It's pretty easy. And then another mistake is not being clear with the tasks and the goals.
Yeah.
And we've got a system with a template and everything else to really clarify everything. And it's when you're working with somebody overseas, especially, I would say that you want to make everything in bullet points, like your assignments and your tasks and things. Here's what, and you explain each one of them instead of going on and on about, and sending an audio file. I know some people just like to, talk into their phone or whatever and record a long drawn out kind of a dissertation on all the tasks you want them to do. And that's not recommended. It's much better if it's bullet points and crystal clear. So they have, a little list, they can check it off. Okay, I did this task, check it off. I did this thing next, I check that off. So that's just something you want to keep in mind. And then giving them too many tasks at once. Like I just said, if you want to record something and go on and on and on, that's not as good as spelling it out one at a time. And especially in the beginning, when your guys are getting to know each other, you just hired somebody, you've never worked with them, they've never worked with you, they don't know your style, they don't know your humor, all that kind of stuff. Just do it. Just be very, very clear and purposeful especially in the very beginning. Now with my guys, I can just kind of talk, and I'll do a quick jing or a snag it or something, and I'll send it to them. And they know me. They know my style. They know when I'm joking or when I'm not, or what's important or what isn't. And it grows and it evolves over time. But in the beginning, just don't give them too many tasks at once, and don't talk too fast like I'm doing right now. You want to slow it down just a little bit so it makes things a little bit more clear and a little easier to understand. Not having the right tools. Like I said, you don't want to just record something into your phone or whatever and then shoot them an MP3. That's not quite the tools. It's easier to set up a Google Doc. We'll talk about the tools, but they're pretty basic.
Yep.
But it's just super easy to get communication, two-way communication with the right tools.
Hey, Randy, real quick, I want to jump in with this one.
Yeah.
This is Brad Zupp, smart dude, working really hard. He said he read that a high school principal makes $6K a year. So him paying his VA $2,400 a year is a very good deal for them. And then he said he pays his $400 a month after starting her at $1 an hour. That was her offer, her bid she gave to him. So, yeah. So.
Exactly.
Yeah, so got to change the mindset a little bit around what money's worth and what the value is, and
right.
Yep.
Yeah, and we'll come back to more how to make that okay in your mind and their mind, and get on the same page on that. So one of the tools that we use all the time is some kind of screen capture software, like I just mentioned, and that changed everything for us, because not only do you talk to them or they just read it, now they can see it. They can see exactly like with your CBI, you can create a little screen capture and show them, here's what I want, and they can actually see it visually, and it helps clarify everything. I've used screen capture software as long as I can remember, and it's just changed everything for me. Communication software, obviously you want to have crystal clear communications. It can be any way that you choose, but we've got, obviously we're going to have our recommendations too. Just be able to get back and forth really easily. Same with the file sharing. You want to make sure that you can send them something, whether it's a Google Doc or whatever. That's super easy. And again, these are a lot real basic kind of stuff. Password sharing software. That way you can have your VA have certain passwords to certain things, and so the rest of the public doesn't get those. It's just again, these seem really basic. Time tracker software is something that was brand new to me when I started years ago. And that basically is employee monitoring. They're going to put in some hours, but especially in the very beginning, you might not feel like, well, how can I trust them? Well, there's software out there that takes a screen capture, a little screenshot of their own computer as they do it. In fact, I still use it, not really for monitoring purposes, but if there's ever a glitch in something, I can look back at it and go, okay, here's the thing that you're doing with this, but I'd rather have it this way. Make that blue a little darker or whatever, and I can check back onto their work anytime I want to.
Yeah, and I can double up on a question here super quick. David Crone asked, where did I get my VA? And so I got mine on Upwork. As you guys know, I've shared certainly over the years. I've gotten them off Hire My Mom and simple quickie things off Fiverr, usually just for ideas. But yeah, Upwork was where I found Emerson. over a year ago, and we still just use that. Honestly, having a year-long employee like that, a show of income, it really helps his career and his professional status. So yeah, I wouldn't even bother pulling him off. And to Randy's point, Upwork automatically has screen capture, so I can kind of pop in whenever I want and see what he's working on, whether it's my stuff or not. Doesn't matter. But yeah, wonderful to just get a real feel on what he's doing and what I'm seeing. So, all right,
Yeah.
you got it again.
Excellent. Okay. So this is what we're talking about. How will it look like if you work with a virtual assistant? If you've never had a virtual assistant before, just think about it. What would it look like if you never had to edit your CIVs or your CVIs? If you never had to edit those yourself, that'd be pretty cool. You just, like we were talking, you just record all the customized part of the audio, right? You basically just record an audio, throw it in a Dropbox, go to sleep, wake up the next morning, and it's kind of done. And even if it wasn't exactly perfect the first few times they do it, it's very easy to clean up. And that's how they would learn. You would take your CVI and maybe make a screen capture, send it back to them and say, okay, this is great, but I want this a little lower, or I want this a little redder, or whatever you would want. And in virtually no time, in very little time, they would understand it, they'd get it, and then they would just continue doing it.
Yeah, it was really funny. I actually forgot to, and I didn't say this before, but I forgot to put my that music file that you heard behind that CVI, I forgot to put that in the Dropbox for it first. So the first one she gave back to me, something felt like it was missing, and then I said, oh, it doesn't have the music. And I just hit Randy up and said, I just dropped the song I use in there. And I am shocked because I know I was still in the same place when it happened on my messenger. It was like 10 minutes later, it had the music on it, and it was replaced. So that was pretty quick, and just dropped the music in right behind it and cut the ending at the perfect way. No instruction from me how to do that.
Yeah, again, fully trained. She's worked for me a long time and done this exact kind of stuff before. I mean, as far as editing and things, so she was very well versed in video editing. But again, all trainable. All people that are going to do this for you. I don't want to say that you can't hire somebody that's never done it before. What I would say is you want to hire somebody that's right for the position, and they're hungry and they want to learn it all. And then you test them. This is not like, here's some work and you have to accept it all. What you do is you give somebody a trial period, and we'll talk all about that in the course. And you hire them for a few tasks, and you see how they work out, see how they do. And if it's somebody that impresses you and does great work, then you continue working with them. You continue paying them. Let's keep going on this next point here. What will it look like if you never had to prospect for clients? Okay, so something else that your VA can do is they can fill out an event spreadsheet. They'll search on Google or LinkedIn for events and event producers, and then.
In fact, let me share this. I just you can keep going, but
you got that.
I asked you for one of those last night. Right. I said,
right.
Hey, is there any way we could have one of these for this thing? Let me share my screen here. And I said, could you? This is great. I wrote the email. You guys are going to crack up. I said to Randy last night, I said, oh, it'd be great to show a spreadsheet that your VA did. And, I know it's nighttime, but possibly they can do 25 of them just so we can get an idea. Here's what I got back. This is great. So I said, focus it on San Francisco Bay Area, and I think that's what they did. So I got down 25, and I was like, oh, cool. But then I kept going, and it went down to 106. So I don't think this is normal. In fact, I know from running Showbiz Blueprint for 8 years, if I say go and get 25 events in San Francisco that are coming in 2020, maybe you guys will get 4 or 5. With the VA, I pay $200 a month to change their life over there, give them steady income. Instead of asking for 25 and getting 4 back, I asked for 25 and got 106 back. I'm not a genius, but that's a way better ratio to be working from.
Yeah, that's good. That's much gooder math.
That's much gooder math. Yeah, and it's funny. I mean, I didn't even look at this morning except just to kind of make a quick look that it was happening. And yeah, Mobile Growth Summit, EXL events, Cambridge Innovations Institute. I mean, this is a little bit crazy. And you know what? Maybe 10% of these are great. Maybe there's 10 in here that actually warrant getting into a conversation with, looking up on LinkedIn, having your VA look them up on LinkedIn, write that initial introduction for you, and just say, I see you having this event coming up. Love to talk to you. Are you open to some ideas about making this event different in past years? I don't know. For me, this is This is a smarter way to do business here. But I could look through this literally in 5 minutes and just kind of say, oh, PGA, I like PGA events. I know some of our members in here do as well. Southwest chapter of the American Association of Airport Executives. What a great freaking conference this would be for me to look into as a guy who holds a commercial pilot's license. Oh, I'm sorry, I have the wrong screen on. Who holds a commercial pilot's license, to just kind of say, oh, that's wonderful to do that. Just looking down these things. Boston Biotech Conference, Advanced Learning Institute. This happened, I don't know how quickly, but we did it last night when I just said, hey, can you take a peek at this stuff? And here it is.
Yeah. That's because when we sleep, you and I are just snoozing. She's working. It's her work day.
Amazing.
That's the beautiful part about this. You wake up and you go, oh my gosh, there's 106. That's pretty cool. So, there's never going to be an end to this. You do whatever you want with it. And then if your instructions are, okay, go to the next level on these 10, she'll go to the next level on those 10 and reach out to them, or, whatever you want her to do.
Look, Specialty Food Association, the Winter Fancy Food Show. I mean, I don't know, that's kind of fun. If you have an act or you have something or you want to do trade shows and that kind of thing. This is interesting. White Rain Productions too. Like, I would see something like that and I would never look that up. So I would just go look at White Rain Productions. Maybe it's a production company that we should be, working for too. So this just opens up a whole lot of good stuff. Oh, they don't even have a URL there. So I'm not sure what that is, but looking into this to just see what this event is. So I see she found some on Facebook, some on Google. Oh, really leaned into Facebook. Interesting. That's a place I never even really looked for events. Yeah. So once again, I learn things about, and I know I talked about this in my section on VA. I learned so much about my business by empowering somebody else to look at it from where they're at. So yeah, perfect. Yeah. I'm going to put it back on you. There you go.
Excellent. All right. Then you can ask yourself, what will it look like when you outsource the task of basically maintaining relationships, right? So you can keep doing what you do. And what they can do is send out holiday cards and birthday cards and all that kind of stuff. So you just, you stay on their radar. And obviously you got some follow through. Doesn't have to be you doing it. The VA can easily take that. Just something, one more thing that you can put to your task list. And then, what'll it feel like when you've got more time to practice? I mean, this is what you do what you do, and let somebody else do what you don't want to do. And man, it really changes everything. When you've got your own VA, you work on your own stuff, develop routines, all that kind of stuff. Looking at the places you can perform. It really opens up a lot more time for you. It's like buying time.
It's funny to think about, I don't have anything for my VA to do. Great, go through all my LinkedIn connections and make a spreadsheet of their birthdays. And, anyone coming up, send them this little video, and you whip out your phone and make some generic video. So good to be connected to you on LinkedIn. I'd sing happy birthday, but I'd ruin your day. I hope it's a great day. Give them, oh my gosh, like the password tool Randy was talking about. Emerson goes into my my LinkedIn. I'm not sure what's on my LinkedIn or how I connect with people, but I'll tell you, man, he does. He's connecting with people on LinkedIn. It's real powerful to not be doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll do the run down the list of what you do want. You want somebody who's going to work full time on different projects, like Barry was just mentioning. It's not one specific thing. It's not just the CVIs. That would be a great start. And then as they get better and better at that and faster at that, then maybe you say, hey, here's my LinkedIn account. Can you work on some relationships with that, or anything you guys want to work out? Because you really do want them for, like I keep saying, full time, 40 hours a week, and it'll change your life. Now, here's another one of the most important parts is, like we said, train them to do other tasks. Anything that you can think of that you don't want to do other than performing, I wouldn't outsource that part. But everything else you can. If it's something you can look up online, if it's something they can do over email, it really is a huge time saver.
Yeah,
now,
look at this comment. This is from David. Sure would make finding school principal names and emails a lot easier than what I'm doing now. Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
And they would love that job. I mean, my gosh, if you give them something where they really feel like they're serving the company and serving the business, growing it, being of value to you, it's wonderful. It doesn't matter. I've found out that it doesn't matter how mundane it is. My gosh, going through my Infusionsoft back in the days and adding tags, whatever it is, it's just like, yeah, just give
Yeah.
something to do that will help your business along so that we can keep working.
Yeah, and we look at it as mundane.
Oh, yeah.
We hate the task, and they look at it as, wait a minute, I'm going to make some money again, sitting at home on my computer. That's a dream come true for them. And especially since our money is so different, we look at it as it's only $5. They look
Yeah.
at it as, oh my gosh, that's like I can go get my tooth pulled now, or I can go,
Yeah.
go out to a fancy restaurant or something, and it just works for us. It works so well in our favor.
Look at this
You have
one,
a
Randy. David wrote, how about bookkeeping? Is that anything you've ever outsourced?
I haven't personally. I know some other people that do.
Yeah.
I think that's something that you could certainly put a task in and say, "Hey, I need to work with this." I know we talked about what is it, a 4-hour work week? Tim Ferriss.
Hmm.
That's the entire book is about how to outsource. It's not how to do it. It's just the idea of outsourcing. It's like,
Yep.
okay, you can get somebody to, and he gets somebody to do everything.
Oh,
Like
yeah, even write his book. I doubt he's thumbed
right.
through that 4-hour diet book. I don't think he's looked through that all.
Yeah, so I don't think it's a stretch at all. I think you can definitely get a bookkeeper, someone who's skilled in that and who has probably done it a lot. And obviously, the culture is going to be the same, and they would love to help you with that. I
Yeah.
know they would.
What do you think about this one? Can you read the comments? I'm not sure what screen you're looking at, but
I get
Andrew
down
said,
here.
I'd love to have my VA create a list of upscale preschools within a 75-mile radius of my home.
Yep,
Yeah,
easy
great,
breezy.
yeah, great gig. Yeah.
In fact, that would be one of your very first things, even as a test, when
Yep.
you would hire somebody. We'll talk about this in a second, but
Yeah.
one of the
Perfect.
first things I do is give them a test, and that would be like the perfect test. Here's, your first test is do this, and you'd show them how. If they've never done it before, you'd say, here's what I'm used to doing, and possibly create a little screen capture video for them or something, and say, here's what I'd like you to do, pop, 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 and then let them run with it and see what they bring back to you. And
Yeah.
the right people for the job are going to do it quickly and go, okay, this is great. Seriously, that's all you want me to do? Because this is awesome. They would love that. So excellent. And then let's talk about loyalty very quick, because it's really, really important, but it's also really easy to do. It's not that difficult to build loyalty with somebody. And I know Barry's got Emerson, and you can tell there's a loyalty between them just because they've worked together for so long. And he's got work, and he pays him, and Emerson does his thing, and it, back and forth is it's really, really easy to do. We have some exact things that we say, okay, here's like, you're building trust in the very beginning by giving them a test and paying them for that test. Again, it's a whopping $5 to us, right? It's only $5 for, let's say, a test, but no one else out there is going to give them a trial and pay them for it. So all of a sudden, they're looking at you like, wow, this guy's going to pay me, even if I don't end up working for him, he's going to pay me, in our case, $5 or $10 or something really small. And that's one of the reasons that they start to look at you like you're a little bit different, and boy, do they really want to work for you. And so loyalty is something that is it's valuable, it's important, and it's something that you can grow with them. Your
Yeah.
relationship just improves
And I
as you
love
grow.
loyalty. I mean, I've been with my wife since '86. I worked with Dan since '82. A lot of you guys in Showbiz Blueprint know Betsy. She's been on Showbiz Blueprint for probably 6 years. Earlier folks know Sarah, who moved on to some other stuff. But I love loyalty. I love finding somebody and just taking that piece of my equation out, because when I take that out and I don't think about it anymore, something bigger comes in. So that's what the VA opens the door for you. Hey, Randy, take a look at this question. See what you think. Let me put this one on the screen.
Sure.
This is from another Barry. Isn't there some risk in giving a quote new hire access to my LinkedIn account? How
Sure,
do you
there's
handle
always
that?
a risk, and I don't think I would start with that one.
Yep.
I would start by building, start with small tasks. You would start with saying, okay, go do some research, for instance. And you give them, what was that, 100 principles in a 75-mile radius or something. Give them
Yeah.
something that they can go do, especially in the very beginning. You want to give them a win. You want them to feel good about what they're doing, not like, oh crap, I can't work for this person because I don't understand what they're saying. So you give them a small one in the beginning, a test, and they're going to do it however they do it. Most of the time, they're going to do pretty well. Sometimes it's not what you want. Sometimes you got some people that just want any job anywhere, and they'll say yes to anything, and it's not really a good fit. Well, you don't hire that person.
Yeah, and
You
I
know,
would say those are the people who don't even make your initial cut. Randy has some
right?
templates that actually get the right people even to take that initial cut. And it's really easy. I mean, I showed that the letters I used to post when I would look for assistants. I would post these things and bury a couple specific actions way down. You got to rule out the riffraff, and you're not going for your LinkedIn account first. Give that some
Yeah,
time.
yeah. But once you do trust them and they trust you, and you've worked with them for a while, and you'll know when that time is. You will absolutely know. It's not necessarily going to be in the first week or two, but I would say within, I don't know, it's up to you. Within 2 or 3 months, you're gonna give them your PayPal account. I mean, I do.
Yep.
My guy's got my PayPal information. Last thing he's going to do is screw up his entire job, for touching my PayPal account incorrectly. But I'll have him go set something up. I mean, it's a trust, and yeah, there is a risk involved. But I would never start in the very beginning with some high risk thing like a LinkedIn account. Wouldn't do it yet. Just
Yeah. And you
grow
guys
to.
know we've talked about password manager sharing tools, LastPass and whatnot that we've talked about in this program. It's like none of those people have my actual password. Yeah, I can grant them access to something that they can log
Right.
into, but I'm not going, hey, here's my password. Type this in.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
not
exactly.
happening.
And
Okay.
that's why after some time you grow together, and it's something that once you get a handle on a really good full-time employee virtual assistant, that's gonna that's gonna give your growth. I mean, your whole company, your whole production can explode because you all of a sudden don't have to worry about whatever they're doing, right? It won't take that long to bring someone up. You want to take your time when doing it, but after a while you realize that you can, double yourself. And that's why, our program is called 2XU. It's 2 times you. And it's almost like doubling yourself with someone who can do all the stuff that you don't want to do.
Man, this is
Again,
so funny, Randy. A little tangent because
yeah, sure.
I'm just kind of blown away. I'm looking at this sheet that your VA did for us last night, and all these events they all have Facebook pages, and I would not have done this. I just
Yeah,
wouldn't have thought to do this. I
yeah,
mean, it looks like they gathered the events off Facebook, and it's like that's so eye opening to me. Um,
yeah.
there's lesbians who teach summit. It's just and it's at the Castro. Shocking for those of us who live in San Francisco. Uh, but it's just there's so much, and just looking at how bringing somebody else into your business changes the perspective that little tiny bit. I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
why didn't I ever look for events on? Why didn't I ever do that? So
Yeah, and that's the insider tip on that one is that the VA we're talking about, the one that just did all this work for us, that's a full-time person. They don't work for anybody else,
right.
right? We work together and that's it. So now she's free to come up with other ideas for me, and how great is that where we said, hey, can you do 25? And they give me 106. And by the way, here's some stuff on Facebook. We didn't give them any instruction about that. Obviously, this VA is long term, worked a long time, understands what we're looking for, and that way, instead of being so micromanaging about do just this task, we give her the whole idea behind it. Here's what we're working on. Here's what we're doing. And because they've worked with us a long time, they go, oh, okay, I
Yep.
think I know where you're going with that. And they come up with their own ideas. That's priceless. It is for me anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, here's some tips and tricks. Here's an insider tip where we're rounding it up now. Here's something that you probably won't know if you've never worked with anybody from the Philippines. They have a thing called a 13th month,
Mm-hmm.
and it's Christmas time. And basically, if you want to participate in it, and I highly recommend you do, you simply pay them a full month's wage at the beginning of December, an additional full month's wage. And for me, that would be, we're talking $200, or in my case, $400 for an additional month. It just helps them with Christmas. I don't know where it came from. I don't know the background of it, but it is something that's widely known in the Filipino culture. And you get like, huge thumbs up for doing
Yep.
this. And if you know about it in advance, you plan for it. You go, okay, well, I'm just going to pay another month's worth and just shower them with thanks and gratitude, and they absolutely love it. That's one of the reasons you can, build loyalty. If you participate in the 13th month, you don't have to. It's kind of like a tip or a bonus, but I've never not done it. I've always paid them at the 13th month, and they appreciate it by, they appreciate it just by and letting you know. But it's really all about, oh my gosh, I just want to work for you. You're the best boss ever. Make sense?
Yeah, a lot of sense. Really good.
Cool. All right, let's talk about growing your relationship with them. This is different, right? We're not even allowed to talk about personal stuff when you hire somebody in the US. This is the exact opposite. You actually ask them about their family. You ask them how they're doing, what their situation is like. Do you have your own computer? Do you have your own workspace? Do you have to share your computer with other people in the family? That's something really important, because if they have their own laptop or their own workspace, that kind of, that fosters getting a lot of work done whenever they want to, sit down to work. If they have to share their computer with three other people in the family, no, it's not really that's not ideal in most cases. But in this case, because we're looking in the Philippines, it's not only appropriate, it's actually considered polite to ask them about their family and their situation, their home environment, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's really easy. I'm going to give you a couple of absolutely do's. These are absolutely do this.
And
Okay,
these are great touch-outs. You know, it's such a radically different culture than what most of
right.
us live in, whether you're in Australia, Europe, America. And I know we have people from all those places here. It's so different there. And what Randy's telling you is based on, I don't know, a decade, probably more than a decade, because you told me about
Yeah,
this stuff 10 years ago.
yeah,
Really, I mean, these are wonderful things if you work with Filipino people. Do exactly what's going to be on this whole screen at the end here.
yeah, absolutely. Here are two things that you do, and they're super easy. Here's what you do. All right, you ask them, "How are you doing?" Totally open-ended. Yeah, who knew, right? Okay, this is totally open-ended,
Shocking.
without saying, "How are you doing on this project?" Sure, you can ask that too, but every now and then, but especially in the beginning when you're getting to know them, and you're fostering your relationship, you're really working on it. You simply ask them, "How are you doing?" And then the other magic question: "Do you need anything?
Mhm.
What can I help you with?" And they're blown away by you reaching out to them, because you're the boss, right? And mine calls me sir too. It's just out of politeness, I think. Do you need anything? When I say, can I help you with anything? Is there anything that I can give you to make your tasks easier? It blows them away, and they go, "Wow, this guy really cares." Well, for one, I really do. They're my full-time employee, and I want to take care of them because we want to work together a long time. So we get things like Barry has shown you. When my VA said, "Yeah, I'll crank this out for you," does a CVI, and then, "Oh yeah, can we get a list of like 20 or 25 possible events in San Francisco?" Here's 106. That comes from, really, really working on a relationship with them, and that it's really easy to do. It's just not difficult if you put the time in, and it's not even that much time. How long does it take to say, "Hey, how are you doing? Do you need anything?" That takes 30 seconds in an email, right?
Yeah.
Okay, then
I
we have
just
a
did it with Emerson in less than 10. So yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah,
just
really
just
easy, but
since you
it's
said that, I just dropped a line to him.
good, because it's not necessarily something you'd think about on your own if you didn't know that was appropriate, right? It is appropriate. And then I ask them to send in the beginning, it's a daily report. Now, after you work with them a while, maybe you only need a weekly report. But in the beginning, I say, okay, every single day, and I've got a little template for that, and they just fill it out and they turn it in every single day. Here's what they did. Here's the work. And in our template, I think it also says something about what have you done, what is your biggest challenge, and what are your plans for work tomorrow. And they just fill that out every day until you don't need it anymore. It took me about 1 month, I think it was. Okay, let's go to weekly. And
Interesting.
then he got it. He just understood what I needed on a day-to-day basis or on a weekly basis. So that's a great little template. And then you just need to have some kind of little system set up where they can get a hold of you if their power is out. One thing that the Philippines have, I wouldn't say often, I would say maybe once a month, they have what they call a brownout, where they don't have internet for 3 or 4 hours. Okay, well, unless I'm running some, last minute campaign launch, something or other, it's never bothered me, and I also know that if that's happening over there, that's the reason that I don't hear from them for 3 or 4 hours if it's a work day or something. "Sorry, sir, there was a brownout here." Oh, okay. And sometimes they know about it, sometimes they don't. It just goes. But it's never been, in my experience, in the decade that I've been working with them, it's never been a huge inconvenience. I think one time in the last 10 years, it was slightly inconvenient for 3 hours. And then it came back, and there you go. And again, it's not often. It happens every now and then. but it's just something that you need to know about and kind of plan for. So you set up a system. I don't care if it's text or if it's whatever it is. If they've got a brownout, at least they can get a hold of you and say, hey, just so you know, there's a brownout here. It shouldn't be too long.
Yeah,
If that makes
Emerson
sense.
and I, we use Upwork mostly for communication, but when I'm on away somewhere and I just shoot him a WhatsApp or I make a super quick WhatsApp
Yeah,
video on what to do and he gets those instantly. I love that.
yeah, easy, easy. So here's the thing. If you'd like some help with this, we have a course that we put together because this was at my insistence. Because when my partner Tom taught this to me, he didn't even have a course on this, or he just took me by the hand basically and taught me all these things because I needed help. Again, it's like 10 years ago, 11 years ago. Anyway, over a decade ago, about exactly how to do this. He just said, well, he had to learn it the hard way. He put all this time into it. And then we kind of went through it together. And I said, okay, well, how do I hire somebody from the get go, from like zero? I have no idea what I'm doing, not a clue, never even thought about this. I just knew that my $50 an hour programmer, who couldn't even spell the word deadline, um, I just had to get somebody else. I needed more help. I needed a programmer back then. And yet I couldn't afford the $50 an hour. It was just running my little company into the ground.
Yeah.
So I reached out, his name's Tom Tate, and I reached out to Tom and I said, okay, how do you do this? Because I know you're working with virtual assistants all the time. So he taught me all this stuff, and I knew as we were going through it, I said, we have got to put a course together because what I'm learning, I've not seen anywhere else, and specifically to the extent of the details. Like, what do I say? Like, what does the template look like? What am I supposed to do here? And so together we put this whole program together that spells it out, one little step at a time, one little tiny step. Here's an idea. There's 5 different modules, okay, for this thing. In the very beginning, and there's like 33 different videos that show you exactly how to do this. Module 1 is all about the mindset, like we just talked about a little bit. The cultural differences. You got to understand the cultural differences between the U.S. and the Philippines and what they consider expensive or not expensive. Like, for instance, we're talking about the economy. Okay, the services are super cheap there, right? Labor, super cheap there. But electronics, like a laptop, is slightly more expensive there. So you just
Mm.
have to know the differences between what's going on there. And the difference between being a boss versus an employee, that's your own mindset, right? You've worked for yourself for so long, you get kind of stuck in your own little mindset about, I've got to do
Yep.
everything. If I want it to be done right, then I have to do it. And yeah, that's understandable. I did it myself. I went through it myself. It was very difficult not to micromanage and have things exactly as you want them. But like Barry just found out with my VA, sometimes they can actually make improvements over what you've been doing. Just
Yep.
because you've been, locked in your little box and you think this is the way I want to do it, and they can bring a fresh perspective to it. But your perspective, your mindset, you got to kind of shift it from being an employee of yourself to being the boss of someone else. And we can talk about that. We do talk about that a lot in that first module. And then I think I already explained why you want a full-time VA versus a one-off freelancer. Full-time VAs work for you and you only. They don't have to worry about where their next paycheck's coming from, what their next client is. They don't have to worry about trying to get paid for the work they just did for someone else. All that kind of stuff goes away. And now they focus 100% on you and your growth and your business, and it's just amazing. So we talk about that mindset, and then really what to prepare before you hire anybody as an employee. There's all kinds of things that I didn't know. Like I said, if I've never done it before, how do I even begin to hire somebody?
Right.
There's all kinds of things that you should know and prepare for. Like, I'll give you one right here. Like your test. When you put up a job post and somebody answers your ad, okay, now you got to do something. You don't want to make it up on the spot. You want to have that prepared already. You want to say, okay, they get these tests. Here's the template email, and we're going to change it, just enough to fit exactly what you want. And then you send that back to them with a test. Here are the tests. Here's what I'd like you to do.
You can keep talking, Randy. I just logged in. I'm just going to show real quickly
Okay.
the course. This is the curriculum that I've gone through. I went through and completed 21%, but it's really, really damn beautiful the way they've done this. Any topic,
Yeah, it's pretty
short videos.
comprehensive.
What's that?
It's pretty comprehensive.
It's
Yeah.
very comprehensive and to the point, and it's easy to look things up and say, "Oh, I need to do this."
Yeah.
And I think you can go through this whole course in like 2 or 3 hours if you really, really need to.
Yeah, and then you can go through it in a relatively short time. But the most important part is as reference. You go back to it, you read it
Yep.
again. Before I send out this email, I want to make sure that I'm saying the right things, or doing the right things, that kind of stuff. So that's it was actually built for someone who's never done it before ever, who never even thought about getting a VA. So it takes you from the very, very beginning stages. Like where do I look? That kind of stuff.
Awesome.
So let me zip through the mindset kind of
Yep.
stuff
There you
here.
go. You're back on. Yeah.
Okay, good. You get your task list together, management tools, and what management skills you're looking for. This is the things you have to prepare for. You have to know what's coming up. Module two is all the tools, and we don't just have recommendations. We'll give you the actual tools that we use. Here's what we use, and up to the current kind of stuff, right? The time and task tracker, um, employee monitoring, time monitoring kind of thing. That's the stuff that I think we have two recommendations for those, the two tools that we're using. A payment tool, yeah, sure, you can use PayPal, you can use all kinds of different stuff, but again, this is going to be exactly what we highly recommend and what we use. Password sharing tool, you guys talked about LastPass or whatever. That's a great one. Communication tool. There's so many of them out there, and we've used them all. We've tried them all. Those are going to be the ones that we actually use, and a file and storage tool, whether it's Dropbox or whatever. We have our recommendations, and if you already have one in place that's working for you, great, use that one. Absolutely.
Yep.
Module three is the actual hiring. This is where we get down to the nitty gritty of actually how we do this. And like I said, this is a real step by step. Here's what you do first. Here's what you do next. We have a job template that automatically filters, and I know Barry has seen this, and it's a forehead slapper.
Yep.
This is just, why didn't I think of this? This is beautiful. This is you're going to filter people out. So if they don't do this in their reply email to you, you don't even open their email. You don't waste any time with people that obviously, aren't going to do what you want them to do. And so that changed my world, because I thought, okay, I don't know why I never thought of that, but it's just genius. And then we give you the actual place to go find these people. There's lots and lots of places that you can find VAs online, tons of them, but we've narrowed it down to our favorites. And here's where we find the best pool of people, where we can find the people that are very specific to what we want them to do. And then how to test them. We actually give you tests. We talk about it, and then we also have tests. How to test applicants for skills. If you want them to be really good at video editing and research and things like that, okay, we've got actual tests. And this is what blew me away when Tom taught me this whole system. I had no idea that this was available. And he said, well, here's how we've done it in the past. And he just kind of listed it nonchalantly. I said, dude, that's like life changing. I didn't know that before. It makes complete sense, and it's easy. That was obviously, one of my important factors, was because I'm a knucklehead. I just spell it out for me, pal. I just need to know exactly what to do. And we recorded all that kind of stuff. And how to do a job interview. Yeah, if you've never done it before, it might be kind of foreign to you. All right, we will explain exactly how it's done, and to get the best success ratio, right? How to interview them. What do you say? I mean, that's when I had my first interviews, I had Tom on the line. Said, okay, I'm going to interview this guy. Be with me. And I think we did it over Google Talk or something. And so while I was doing the interview, he was basically in my ear and saying, okay, here's another question to ask. And here's a comment. And what does that mean when they have this question? We go through all of that kind of stuff and we spell it out. And again, totally eye opening. Module four is managing employees. If you've never done it before, it may sound daunting. It may sound like, oh my gosh, I've never managed people. I don't know what to do. I've never been a manager. Okay. Again, we spell it out. There are simple things to understand. And once you get that, once you read it, you watch the video and you go, okay, that makes total sense. Right. And then one of the first things you want to do is get your employees profitable and get them loyal. And that starts from the very first, it actually stops in the job posting. The very first thing they see from you could could be loyalty building already. Like they're going to look at the job posting and the way that you word it. They're going to go, wow, that's really cool. I want to work for them. And all of a sudden, now they apply for the job, and the email that you give them makes them feel even better about you. And then you give them a test. and you're going to tell them you're going to pay for it, and then they do the test, and then you pay for it, and they're just kind of blown away that you're like the ultimate boss to work for. And so that's where the loyalty begins from the very beginning. And you got your daily report every single day. You go back and forth, and this is how you manage your employees, right? And the task tracker spreadsheet. We've got a nice little spreadsheet that kind of explains what you're looking for, and then giving feedback how you do that. I'll give you a quick little insider thing about the Filipinos. Okay, they thrive on encouragement, thrive on it as much as the money. I know it might not feel because in the U.S. we're all about get the money. I don't really care about this. I just want the money. Well, they're different. Okay, generally speaking, they love feedback, and if you give it in an encouraging fashion, not critical, you're going to be fine. They will love you for it. We also talk about training your VA and how to do that and how to manage them. Module 5 is letting go of employees, and very unpleasant for a lot of people, especially if you've never done it before. But you know what? Not everybody's going to work out. Not everybody's going to be stellar. And you may have to go through 2 or 3 VAs over, I don't know, a 2 or 3 week period or a month period before you find just the ultimate person that you want. So what do you say to them when it just doesn't work out? We'll tell you exactly what to say. We have a little template for that too. And even when, how do you know when to let them go? What's the right timing of that? We talk about that. And then we actually give you a template, an email, a couple of different ideas on how to let them go and stay friends, to the point where we've let go all kinds of people over the years, over the many years, on different tasks and different jobs, and they outgrew it, or we outgrew them, or they wanted to try something else, and we stayed friends with them. And the benefit of that is not only does it feel better for us, but sometimes we could reach out to them in the future, and sometimes they have just the perfect skill set that we can use for another project. Sometimes they'll send us people because we were a great boss to work for, and it's just really valuable. So
Nice.
here's what you're going to get. Barry, did you have something you want to add? Want to throw in there?
Yeah, there were a couple questions, but I think we'll just do them at the end here. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Either way. Okay. We put together some.
You know, one thing about the course, though, that somebody is asking,
Yeah.
this might be good, and I don't think this is there specifically, but Trace asked, is there a list of suggested tasks that you can give the VA in your program?
What a great segue.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, there are. Yeah.
Oh,
There's.
cool.
Yeah. We've done some stuff specifically for Showbiz Blueprint because obviously Barry and I have been friends
Oh,
for.
that's right. You did do that. Yeah.
How long we've been friends? Over 30.
Over 30 for sure. Yeah.
We've been friends for over 30 years. And since I was in the business for so long, it just made sense, right? I did this show business for 40 years I've worked for Disneyland for 7 years as a professional magician and juggler. I had my own show on cruise ships for many years. I was an act doctor, helping other people with
That's
their
right.
act and getting other people on cruise ships and all that kind of stuff. So showbiz to me is, it's like you guys. It's the same thing. I feel it's in my blood. And so I went through our own stuff and I said, we got to put some templates together because this is going to work so perfectly for all of Barry's guys. If you're involved in Showbiz Blueprint, first of all, no one else is hearing this. This isn't for anybody else. This is very specific and customized, just for you guys, because you have a very specific need for certain people. So we rewrote some job descriptions. We actually have 5 job templates for hiring a VA that will do exactly what you want: lead
Oh,
generation for
that's
events
great.
and
I'm
video
looking at
editing.
these right now that you sent me. These are great. Yeah.
Yeah. I said, well, there's a way to do this and to hire someone specifically to do these kind of things. And then we backed it up with the actual test for, checking out your VA, your applicant, to match their skills. Do they have the skills for this? So once they do reply to your job posting and they say, yes, you guys sound great, what do I do? You say, okay, here's some tests. Please take these tests and we will pay you for them. And I think they're like $5 a piece or something. And you don't pay. That's why the filtering is so important in the very beginning. You're not going to pay $5 for 40 or 50 people coming in. You're going to pay it for the top 2 or 3 people, possibly 4 or 5 people. And the templates that we give you on the job posting and the emails will help filter those people out automatically. So here's what you're going to get if you're interested in us helping you. The 2XU Masterclass has 33 videos in it, and it's valued at $4,000 basically. And it'll take you by the hand, everything you need to know from the very beginning. I've never done this before, to actually hiring somebody and follow through and giving them the trial period and everything in between. And like I said, you can watch all the videos and kind of get it immediately and go, okay, I don't know why I never learned this, or I've never needed to learn this before, but this is step by step. Okay. And just, before I even continue at all, let me mention, we would be with you the entire time. Okay. I'll even give you our email. So if you grab the course, we're going to be with you step by step. If you got a question, boom. If it's not, especially if it's not in the course, it probably is in the course. We've been working on this a very long time to answer all the questions. But if you come up with a question that you can't find in the course, or you just want to talk to us, just shoot us an email. We'll get right back to you. I mean, like very quickly, impressively quickly. We'll say that. And now, of course, I want to throw some bonuses on here because I went through this and I said, there's some specific things that I know Barry's guys are going to like a lot. Okay, we'll bring them down one at a time. You got your basic hiring template. This is specifically for you guys who've done this, the performing kind of stuff. They will automatically filter all the good and the bad applicants, right away. But again, these are specific for Showbiz Blueprint folks. And then we're going to put 5 bonus templates in specifically. And there's a high value on this because this is custom made just for you guys and based on what Barry has taught you so far. These are specially made templates so you get the right people. Obviously very important to get the right people. I don't know why this goes 2 at a time. Hang on.
It's funny, these values I'm putting on, I'm looking at, they're big numbers, and I'm just thinking, really, it's what you would save in less than a month.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
So, I mean, and that's a way to look at value. I mean, clearly you're not going to sell a Google Doc of 5 templates for $3,000.
Right.
But can it save you that? Can it make you that? Easily.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to. Yeah. And after doing this for over a decade, I can tell you that I would gladly pay this money for every single one of those, before I knew it, especially the way it's spelled out. Because again, I'm a knucklehead and I said, okay, it's got to pass the grandma test. If I gave this to my grandma, would she understand it? So it's not gibberish. It's not, we don't assume that you know anything. In fact, we assume that you've never done this before.
Yep.
So it just makes things a lot easier to understand. So the skill test, the custom skill test, those are specifically written for you guys, and it'll test their skills, for what, research or video editing or lead generation, and we'll give them tests that'll give you an idea how your applicant will work out, if you hire them. And then creating your employee's task list worksheet. This will just help you get a better idea of how to delegate, and work with your employee better right off the bat. And the daily report template, it's just a major communication tool. It'll help you and your employees get on the same page about the tasks and the projects that you've got for them. We also threw in the ultimate automation template. This is a step-by-step method that we use to create the systems that you can easily automate the new processes with your employee. And finally, the employee task monitoring spreadsheet. Yeah, it's a template. It's a spreadsheet that tracks the tasks with your employees and any bottlenecks that may come out. See, it sounds like it's pretty simplistic to go, well, all I need is a CBI and maybe some research. And that's great. But this will do so much more because you're going to want to give them more tasks after a while, and this will set you up for them. I hope that makes sense. Oh, and okay, so obviously the whole thing comes out to a $10,000 value, and I would pay it in a second. If this were available way back when, 10 years ago, when I was talking to Tom and learning all this stuff, I would have gladly paid $10,000. I would have been very happy for it. And as you can see on the screen now, it comes with a money back guarantee. We believe in this so much, and I know it's going to be so helpful to you guys that we're going to throw a money back guarantee. Of course, that's how these things work. You don't know me, you don't know us, you know Barry,
yep.
And like and trust Barry, but maybe you don't know me so well. Okay, that's totally fine. That's why there's a money back guarantee. And if at any point you buy the course, you go through it, you play with it, any reason at all, you don't like it, just shoot us an email, support@2xu.com, and we'll instantly give you your money back. We don't even need to know why. If it's just not your thing, if you thought you'd use it but you didn't, or you don't like the task, you don't like the font color that we use, okay. I'm saying that's fine. You just,
people on it, yeah.
I don't like your face on there. Okay, fine. I've recorded a bunch of these myself, and Tom's on there, and our CEO, and for whatever reason, you got that. So here's our offer. It's a special offer, obviously for you guys only. It's only $197.
That's a little cheaper. That's good.
Yeah, yeah. Again, not a math professor, but
Right, I'm not a
197.
math professor, but that's more than 25 contacts. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And again, if it's $197 and for whatever reason you think, oh, that's too expensive, or oh, I didn't learn enough, or whatever, just let us know. If you go to our website right now, if you just go to 2xu.com, you'll see that the masterclass is what is it, 39.97. I think that's what it is, and it's even that is guaranteed. We will even give your money back if you pay retail.
Yeah.
So it's got to be a good value. 197. We don't expect to give any refunds, mainly because it's worth way more than this.
Yep.
But I know Barry for a long, long time. We go way back, and I really wanted to do something that was going to just blow people away, and actually have. There's one more cost to it. I forgot to mention. It's 197, and we would love any kind of feedback, any testimonial. If you say this is the greatest course I've ever taken, I actually used this one. I just didn't buy it and put it on the shelf. This changed my life. It changed my business. Whatever you feel. Obviously, we only want the truth, but we really feel like we're going to get a whole bunch of great feedback and some eye openers. There's some definite light bulb moments, light bulb over your head. That you're just going to go, why didn't I think of that? This is the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
So there you go. Let's do.
That's awesome, man. Really good. And yeah, kill your share, and we can actually be like this is not a recording. It's fantastic. It's.
Oh, let me see. How do I kill my share? Let me see that.
See, Randy, I said you're gonna have to do some stuff, and he goes, "Man, I always have my VA do all this stuff for me."
I don't do anything. Yeah, kill my.
I don't do anything. There you are.
Hey,
you've done it.
How's my hair?
Oh, well, it's better than mine. Let me just. That's kind of a cold question to come on and ask me, man.
I know. Yeah. Sorry.
Let me bring a couple things up here. Let's bring this one up. Let's dig into this one. This is Obadiah said, "What about piecework versus hourly?" What's your, you have experience. I have experience in both those. Where are you at?
Yeah, I've done both. I've done everything. Piecework is fine for one-offs. If all I need is the background taken out of this image or something, okay, I can usually hire somebody. But now that I've got my VA, I don't go outside like ever. I just send it to a VA.
I know. And it's funny, something made me think that, but you were on a roll talking before. But I've had Emerson say, "Hey, could you do this?" And he goes, "I'm not really good at that." And I say, "I bet you know someone who is." And he goes, "Oh." And I said, "Just hire him. It doesn't matter. All I want is this little piece of my brain to not be hung up on that part."
Right. You take care of it. I've done that many times. We've actually had a couple of parts in like a programming issue or whatever. And our regular people, our regular VAs are going, I don't know about this one.
I know.
I'm not really well versed in whatever that was, Ajax or something. And we said, okay, hire somebody.
Yep.
And they will go. And we'll even explain that because you're going to have to hire somebody eventually. In our business, it was always, okay, teach them how to hire somebody, how to look it up on Upwork or wherever. Here's how to hire somebody. And they'll come back with 2 or 3 good ideas. And then we'll pick one and then we'll pay them. And now we don't even go through the 2 or 3 ideas. We trust them because they know what we're looking for.
Yeah, I haven't been that deep. Emerson always seems to know somebody who just does it. But I always appreciate that he tells me I don't know how to do that. I'm like, oh, that's way better than just yeah.
Well, we have a policy. We have a policy that we've been using a long time. We said, good news is great, bad news is okay, no news is never good.
Not good.
Just tell me. I don't care if you don't know how to do something. Just tell me that you don't know how to do something, and we'll go from there. And we always get through it. Always.
Eventually, they might see that I make 1,000 plus in 4 hours. How do they feel about that after I pay them $2 an hour? I will answer. They know we're in a different economy. Emerson has been in my PayPal. He takes care of all the, Betsy does all the customer service with Showbiz Blueprint. Emerson does everything you guys see inside of Member Vault and all that stuff. He does all that stuff. I show up and make the lessons. I don't know how they feel about it. I never ask them, but it certainly never comes up. So it's
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Our answer here is they do know how much we make. They hope that we make $1,000 an hour. They hope that we make millions because that's job security for them. They also know that what I do and what they do are completely different. They have no problem with me being the boss, and them being the employee. They have no problem. And another insider tip is we give a lot of bonuses. If there's any reason at all, if they've done fast work, if it's a quick turnaround, or if it's exceptional work, And I would rather give a lot of small bonuses, like almost every paycheck. Okay, instead of saying here's $100, here's $105, and they love that. And it also keeps everything, kind of on the up and up. Yes, I'm doing well, so I can afford to give you bonuses.
Yep.
They've never said anything about, oh, you make a whole ton of money. How come I only get so little?
You have this cool spreadsheet in here, and one of the lessons I brought up.
Yep.
Yeah, this is a really interesting spreadsheet. To give them what it feels like to them, what it actually costs you. So,
Mhm.
it's pretty amazing stuff.
Yeah, it's that's the difference between our economy and their economy, and why people are outsourcing across the planet on the
Yeah,
other side.
that's big.
But they're thrilled, and you want them thrilled. You don't want them skeptical or concerned or anything else. They want to join a winning team.
Awesome.
And when we start from the very beginning with the proper job posting, the proper reply email, the filtering, the tests, all that kind of stuff, they're stoked before they ever even take their first week trial or something. They just
Absolutely.
can't wait. I mean, and that's how they feel to this day. I mean, they've been working with me for 10 years now, and they're just going, okay, we love you.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. And it's personal. When
yeah.
something goes on in their family, they let me know about it. Their brother-in-law just passed away or something.
I
They
know.
let
Yeah, it's a couple days.
our
Hey,
family member.
so you guys, Randy's keeping this. I think you said you were going to keep this special online for them for till the end of the weekend. That's great.
Yeah.
What I'm going to do is I just wrote this down based on Trace's question. I'm going to do a special PDF for anyone who jumps in. 10 VA tasks that you can give your VAs anytime you feel like you don't have something, and I promise you, each one of those is going to boost your business. Just something you can go, oh, let me just give that. So I'll give Randy that, and he can drop that PDF to anyone who joins from this group. So. Great. I see a couple people already joined. That's totally cool. Oh, here's one from someone you probably know. Look at this comment.
Lou, how you doing, Lou?
Awesome.
A little bit, yes. I do miss performing a little bit. Uh, I went. I know Lou from the Magic Castle and from years of doing the thing, and it's been interesting. It's not something I'm itching to go back. But between you and I'm not necessarily never coming back.
Oh my gosh. Sneak announcement. Um, Sneak
Didn't hear
announcement.
that from
That's
me.
funny. Hey, grab that question too. Dave asked that.
Oh, excellent. How's your English in general? Excellent. It depends on the person. I've had some people that have a little bit of an accent. I've had some people that have very, like, hardly any accent at all, and everything in between. If you're going to hire somebody to answer phones for you, then yeah, you want somebody who is well versed in English and kind of hardly any accent at all. But that's a test. It's super easy to test. Make a recording for me and send it in, or ask them to get on the horn with you and make the phone call and listen
Yeah.
to their
And if
English.
you use Upwork, they even have a little live chat button. Like I've jumped on with Emerson a few times, and I'm always like, "Wow, the guy writes great," but I'm not going to have him answer the phone for me.
Yeah, yeah. And I have one guy that's been working with me for over 7 or 8 years who doesn't like to doesn't like to record his own voice. I've never heard his voice.
Right? Yeah, yeah.
He's worked
That's
with me
very
for
common.
years,
Yeah.
but he never answers the phone for me. We go back and forth on email, and it's never been a problem, not one single time.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, it's a comment from Andrew, and then a comment from
yep. Do
Tracy.
you get your VAs to do sales calls? I have never done that,
Yeah,
Trace.
well,
Not
not
my.
me personally. Yeah, I
Yeah,
know that one of our VAs could easily do sales calls because her English is really great and she has a great understanding. She's a higher end. She'd be more the $400 a month kind of person.
yeah,
Follow up calls, same idea. Yes, you can have them do that. If it needs to be a live in person kind of thing, then you want to check their English skills and their voice.
yeah.
But if it's not based on that, like can they do a follow up in email? Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely. And it's like it's the more of the relationship you build, as I wrote back to Andrew on one of these things, the longer I've been with people, like I see VAs that I've had. Betsy, after 6 years, she knows my thing way more than me. She's always like a week ahead, 2 weeks ahead. Emerson,
Sure.
definitely getting that way. Like does things go, I remember I did this one time for you. I'll just do it this time too. And I'm like, yeah, I'm an idiot. I forgot to ask that. That would have been another lap back and forth of work.
Yeah. Yeah. And I see a question from Andrew. I spend more time than I'd like ordering stuff online than I use in my business, ranging from magic props, costumes, balloons, where VA do some of my online shopping. Absolutely. Yeah. Without hesitation. You would just show her what you're looking for, what you like. And, depending on if you want her to buy it or you want them to just buy it, they can. Or if you want them to send you a refined list of things that you might want to take another look at, like that's super easy.
Cool. All right, my man. Hey, yeah. Parting shots. I know a bunch of people on here said they're in. They're going to do this. I got a few voicemails saying when can I get that PDF? I'll shoot that. I just had the idea while Randy was
Yeah.
talking when Trace wrote that, but I will just go through my brain and whip you out 10 really cool things you can have your VA doing, for you. Yeah, jump into that course. Really, if you watch it now or if you watch it, I'm sorry, I'm not on screen. If you watch it now or you watch it another time or you make it a priority. David even said a cool thing. Where is David's thing? This is great. This is the kind of thinking that David Crone always provides, and I love that. Yeah, heck yeah. Get your local VA to jump in on that. She may realize that her job is disappearing, but I'm not sure about that. But
Yeah, actually, we recommend that in the course. We highly recommend them just having all kinds of access to all kinds of your courses. Can they learn? Yes, we have taught lots of our VAs by saying, "Here, go read this,
yep,
go
yep,
take the course." And I would absolutely. In fact, one of our VAs hires other VAs for us because she knows exactly what we're looking for, and she's a little bit more strict than we are,
yeah,
and that's how it works, and you can grow a team. So right now my team is about four. I've got some that are part-timers as well. I've got my full-time VAs and I've got some part-timers, and then at 2XU I think we've got something in around 30 different people doing all kinds of projects, all kinds of different ways, and they've got managers, so it's not like right now small. If I were just starting out, it would just be one. Just give me one full-time
yep.
employee. That's all I would need.
Yeah, let me get one. Okay, in that page here, I'm just going to share that SBVP. You guys can take a look at this, and I think Tom even this is great. I love this. Isn't this great? Is your to-do list longer than a bad comedy act? I compared that to somebody recently. What were they saying? It's like sometimes you just have to watch the crappy act. I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
Someone was saying how hard it's not. Yeah, but here's a picture of your partner with his team. He lives over there, right?
Yeah, he lives in the Philippines.
Yep,
Yeah.
he does that full time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean that's
And and again, I mean, I got to add one more time that one of the most valuable things with whatever little money what is it, 197?
yeah.
That with that little money, the most important thing is shoot us an email if you have any questions at all. We're right there, and you will be impressed at how quickly we get back to you
Yep.
with an answer.
Yeah.
It's I've done it myself, and it's pretty impressive. Okay, you're not going to go a week without getting an answer. It's going to be a matter of hours or possibly up to 24 hours because remember, we're awake during the day here, it's nighttime there,
Yep.
15 hours later.
And Andrew just said, any thoughts on having VAs do initial discovery calls with client? I would really look for someone. Probably, well, for one thing, they're going to be awake in the middle of the night over there doing that. You're going to have to find someone with super good English to do that. But boy, using LinkedIn, writing email inquiries, jumping onto Twitter, following what's going on in a trend, finding the events coming up. It's like, yeah, get them to do all that stuff, and maybe have somebody over here doing that stuff. Andrew, you're definitely at a place where it's time to have someone locally taking the warm leads and turning them into hot leads, and then you jumping into the conversation a little bit later in the game. All right, you guys, 11:30. 6 got late. You folks on the East Coast and over there. Randy, thanks a ton for making this. I mean, just this is
My pleasure.
a stupid simple offer. If it makes sense for you guys, jump in and do that. Even if you don't do the course right now, it's pennies. I know Randy's taking down that page on this weekend sometime. Grab it,
Yep.
put it on your calendar just to go through a couple hours of lessons. Educate yourself on how to work in that thing, because I know in that culture, it's very specific, the ways that you can do it and just excel as a boss versus the way it kind of feels like piecemeal work. And I see people work, but I don't know about you, but $200 a month is not something I miss, probably because I'm not doing everything myself.
Right.
Trust yourself, even for a 6-month commitment, just to kind of say, I'm going to work through the 10 tasks that Barry's going to send me. I'm going to have them research the 100, high profile preschools within 100 miles of my house. All these things, it's 1 gig. It's, and for a lot of us on this show, $200 a month is our first couple minutes on stage. It's really nice to have that bit of accountability. I was at the lake yesterday. You guys know I'm a crazy ass lake swimmer. Today's Tuesday. Monday I went. I woke up not really feeling like going to the lake. It was a little cold. It was 4:45 in the morning. I meet everybody at 5:15, but I knew there were 3 people sitting there. There's no way. There's no way. I've even moved my say no point to where I'm standing at the edge of the lake in my Speedo. Then I can say no. I've at least showed up for the people. But, so that's what having a VA is for me. It's like, I know there's someone who wants to help me to work. Let me just go and give them something to do right now. Like I say, I got a bunch of coaching clients. I have a bunch of other high profile clients I'm doing some of the acquisition stuff for. So I always have something to give them. But even if you're a solopreneur running a business, it's ridiculous to think that there isn't something that could be happening to grow your business every single day in your local area, in your region, your state, in the country, in a specific marketplace. Just, research growing, having more arms on your body than you have right now. So, Randy, 100 thanks, man. Thanks for showing up.
My pleasure, man. Thank you for having me. Have a great one.
You bet, everybody. I don't know where my mouse is, but it's I'm going to leave you guys on this screen because it's a pretty screen. All right, talk to you guys soon.